Good evening everyone, my name's Josh. I'm a local ecologist working with the 4B's Biodiversity Park project, and I'm here this evening to give you guys a quick introduction to moth surveying. So I'm currently stood in Norman's garden, which is in the heart of the 4B's Biodiversity Park. As you can see, it's full of wildflowers, which is looking amazing this time of year. So the idea of the video this evening is just to give you a quick intro. I'll show you what the trap looks like, a little bit of the setup, and then processing what we catch the following morning as well. So the reason why we're doing this is because butterflies obviously get a lot of attention in terms of insect surveys. So the moth surveys will help to give another element to what our biodiversity interventions are doing within the 4B's park. So there's only around 50 odd butterfly species in the UK, whereas there's over 2,500 moth species. And I think the main reason why they don't get as much press is because most of them are night flying. So we do have a few day flying species such as your burnet moths and tiger moths. But yeah, the majority fly at night. So with this trap, we'll hopefully be able to show you guys some of the species that are a bit more elusive. Okay, so this is a version of a Skinner trap, which is a very common moth trap used by a lot of moth enthusiasts. This is one that I actually made when I was at university with my dad. So if anyone's interested in getting involved in doing this themselves, then I can definitely send the plans over to Norman and get it sent around the 4B's WhatsApp group. But basically it consists of a wooden box like this. So this is where all of the moths are going to fly into. These egg boxes are what we use to put in the bottom of the trap. It just gives a nice little area of refuge for the moths to stay in until we come back and process the catch the following morning. So these just go inside like so. So they can just go in like that. And then this is the light. So this bulb is incredibly powerful. This is what's known as a mercury vapor bulb, but you can get loads of different types of bulbs and equally loads of different types of traps. So yeah, it doesn't have to be as advanced as this. If you wanted to get involved, you could even just hang a bed sheet over a washing line and then use a torch and you will get some moths. It might not be as effective as this, but it's yeah, still worth giving it a go, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So yeah, this is the light. This just slots in to the middle of the trap like this. And then the final thing to do here is to grab these perspex sheets. So these basically work as a funnel. So once the moths are attracted to the light, they come down towards the trap, land on these perspex sheets, and then they fall down into the trap, into the collecting chamber. So yeah, if I just lift that up so you can get a better idea of what it looks like all put together. So you can get portable traps, but this one is mains powered, so I'm going to be using Norman's electricity for the evening. So we're going to plug this up, turn it on, and off we go. So we're now back at the trap. As you can see, we're in an environment where we're not under closed canopy, so this really bright mercury vapor moth will have attracted moths in from hundreds of meters away. So it's really important when we come back to check the trap that we're having a look around the adjacent habitats, so on the grassland, in some of the tall vegetation, just making sure we're not treading on any that are near the trap. And yeah, we'll then start taking the trap apart so that we can go through the catch in a bit more detail. Okay, so when it comes to moth identification, there's a few bits of essential kit that we need to have. So first up is our field guides. So these are really good field guides for moths. They're made by Bloomsbury Wildlife Guides. And as I was saying yesterday, there's over 2,500 species of moth in the UK. This includes about 900 macro moths, which this guide relates to, and the rest of the 2,500 species are made up of micro moths. So these are far smaller and much less widely studied than our macro moths, mainly just because of the size and ease of study. So these guides are amazing because they've got really nice colour plates of all the species in there. So we've got some of our hawk moths in there, all sorts, and then it's also got nice species profile for each one, which goes into a bit more detail about their identification, their distribution, the conservation status, the larval food plants of the pupae or caterpillars, and also the food plants of the adults as well. So yeah, these are really essential bits of kit. We've also then got some collecting pots here. So once we go through the trap, we can use these pots to put the moths in if we're struggling to ID them. If we can ID them straight away, then we can just release them back into the adjacent habitats unharmed. So yeah, it's really important to note that with these traps, they don't actually kill the moths. They just sort of lay up in the egg boxes in the trap, and then we can come and release them the following morning. Okay, so we're now down by the trap. We're just having a look around the outside to see if there are any moths on the ground or on the outside of the trap. So if you want to come and have a look just here, we've got a lesser swallow prominent, which is quite a common and widely distributed moth, but very nice patterns on the wings. We've also got black arches here, so the larvae feed mainly on English oak or peduncular oak, which makes sense as we've got a lot in the wider landscape here. We've also got a Jersey tiger here, which many of you will have seen in your gardens recently. I think they've had a really good year, and they all fly in the day as well, so they're quite a striking moth with the black and white stripes, and the legs actually are black and white striped as well, which is a nice detail to see up close. If we come to the top of the trap here, so you might be able to see we've got a European hornet in the trap, so they quite often get caught in these as well, so it's obviously a good idea to be careful when you're disassembling them. Make sure there's no hornets that are going to come out and sting you. This is a type of footman moth we've got here, and I'll probably save the best till last in terms of looking around the outside. We've got a hawk moth here, which we didn't have last time. It's one of our more common hawk moths, but this is called a poplar hawk moth. So as the name suggests, the larvae feed on poplar trees. Okay, so we're now just going to start taking the trap apart so we can go through all of the egg boxes in the base. So this is, yeah, the light just comes out. Okay. So this can be quite tricky sometimes. If you've got very active moths, when we're removing these perspex sheets, they can obviously fly off pretty quickly before you get a chance to identify them. So if there's anything you can see through the perspex that you can ID before you take these out, and that's always a good idea. If not, then we'll just have to crack on. Okay. So we've got a brimstone moth here. It's fairly common and widespread moth again, but a really nice colour. We've got, so this is an August thorn, this one here. There's a few different types of thorn species that we get in the UK. So earlier in the year you get what's known as an early thorn, funnily enough. You can also get canary thorns, which are a lot yellower in the abdomen. And this one here, some of you may be familiar with. This is the box moth, so this is a bit of a pest when it comes to box trees and box hedges, as the larvae will feed on the leaves and completely destroy your foliage. We've been here for a couple of hours processing the catch, and in first impressions we'd probably say abundance was way down on last year, but it's obviously hard to draw any conclusions from a single survey about population trends. We had really good conditions overnight, so low wind, it was dry, nice and sunny this morning, so that's definitely not impacted the results in any way. But hopefully it's shown you guys the beauty and the diversity of moths that we have here in the 4Bs Biodiversity Park, and hopefully inspired you guys to give it a go for yourselves.